Hello and welcome to CS 527. This is lecture number 12, and in today's lecture we'll try to understand how to design a web server. This will be just a simple idea, simple concept how we can design a tiny web server. So whatever we'll discuss today is completely depend on the knowledge that we have understood in this previous lecture, that is the initial network like programming. So quickly, I'll explain the important points that I have discussed in last class. So in last lecture, I have discussed how to create a client, how to connect this client with the server, how to create a server, all these things. And there are many low-level functions to do this, but at the end, what I have said that there is a library is available in a function available in the library CS app, and in that library there are two functions. One is uh, open client fd and another is open listen fd, right? So in this open client fd function is used to create a client, and open listen fd function is create used to create a server, right? And then what is actually happening, that part is very important to remember. So if a client wants to connect to the server, then we have to assume that in server this open listen fd is already executed, right? And a listen fd is created, means there is a listen descriptor is already there, like listen fd is already there by calling open listen fd function. That is fine. So that means server is already created, and the server is now waiting in the accept function, in its accept function to accept a client connection. Okay. Now when client wants to communicate, so first of all client will create a fd like this using the calling the socket function, and then client will call the connect function. Okay. So all these things will be done by the open client fd function actually. So when the open client fd function will do sorry, so open client fd function will try to connect with this server. So and the server is waiting in the accept function. So what the accept function of server will do, the accept function of server will accept a connection through this descriptor like listen fd, and immediately what it will do, it will create a separate fd that is called connection fd here in server, and return an acknowledgement to client. So now a connection between established between client and server. But the important part is how to communicate after this connection. To communicate means write, read and write. So here in client side the fd is client fd, and in server side the fd is called connection fd. So anything if client want to send to server, client will write it here. If anything server want to send to client, server will write it here. And if any content that server sends to client and client want to read it, then client will read it from here. And if any content then client is sending to server and server want to read it, then server will read it from this connection fd. So this point is very important to understand that how they are communicating after the connection has been established. So all these things I have discussed in last class, but please revise it, please watch my videos, or read this content of this book before starting today's lecture. Otherwise it will be difficult for me to explain, because these low level things I will not explain today. I'll just quickly go through all these things. Okay. So now going to the part which is after all this thing, this part I have already explained, so now you have to read it by yourself from the book, from the textbook. Then I'll start with this web server HTML 11.5, how to design your own web server using using this simple system programming. So to start with today's lecture, some basic concept of web servers is also required. So how web server actually works. So at the beginning of this chapter, I have explained you the client server model, that there will be a server where all the data will be present, and uh, if we want to access something, then will act as a server, as a client. For example, suppose if I open this browser here, and in this browser if I want to access our IIT Ropar server, then iitrpr.ac.in. So here from this laptop, since I am opening the browser, and from browser I'm typing this address, so what is happening, this browser is act as a client, right? And the moment I'm pressing enter, what is happening, my request, this client is sending my request to the server of IIT Ropar server, and that request is processing at IIT Ropar server, and then server is sending me a reply, and that reply is printing here. right? I hope this part is clear. So now, so normally this is going through HTTP. So all this basic concept, what is HTTP and all this thing, low level thing, I will not explain in this course because this is not a network course. Okay, but quickly all this thing is written here. So some small basic concept will be required. So here, what is happening actually? The moment I am pressing here IIT Ropar and I am pressing enter, so this client is sending a request, HTTP request to server, and then HTTP request as a particular format, right? So in a particular request format, HTTP will send a request to server. Server will receive the request, and then server will do the necessary action, and the server will prepare a response. So in that response, there is a response header for HTTP, and then after response header, the actual response content will be there. So actual response content here is in case of web services, most of the time it is an HTML file. So there will be HTML file. So the response when our IIT server is sending us a response, right? So that response has a response header, HTTP header file of response header, and after this response header, there will be the actual content. Okay, so that content is actually HTML content. So here when the response is reaching in my client's machine again, since it's the HTML thing, so it is displaying the complete HTML file here, because any browser is capable of displaying an HTML. But the things is not very simple here. What I am saying is a simple HTML thing, but here you can see this web page has lot of images and lot of uh, animations are going on. So these are what you can say advanced level thing, but I am assuming that a simple text based page, if I want to access, then this is how you can access it. Okay, so but the another thing is, suppose there is that point I think I have also explained in last class, and there are two type of responses a server can produce. One is called static and one is called dynamic response. Static means whatever content you want to access, that is statically written there, that is statically written in the server. So for example, in server you have a already an HTML file, or already there is a file written, you just need to scan it and send it. So that is very very easy. For example, how you can do this, if you have to create your own server, like we did in previous lecture. What we did in previous lecture, we have our own server. So right, similarly, if you want to create a server into for today's lecture, what you can do, you can create a server, and when you will accept a connection, after accepting a connection, if you know that which file you have to send, suppose you know that there is a particular HTML file that you need to send, then what you will do, you will just read the file, HTML file. Okay, you know how to read a file in server, and then you send the content of HTML file to the client. So that is easy. But if it is a static dynamic thing, then what to do? So if any of you have idea about this working with JSP, PHP or ASP, what they do actually, they design a dynamic web page, right? For example, if we consider a PHP website, so if you know how a PHP works, suppose you want to create a database, a student database, or a software, web-based software for student records. So maybe there is a you have created a database where you have stored all the what you can say the assignment marks of students. So every time when you will try to request to the server has to collect the data from the database, and then you have to send it, right? So the content is dynamic here. So dynamically what they do, what server will do, server will create, dynamically collect the data, create an HTML page and send it to you. Okay, this, if you understand this part, then it is fine. So I hope you understand the difference between static page and dynamic page in for server. Okay, so from all these basics, first let me show you how what we want to do today. So I'll show you the demo and then I'll explain the code to you. Okay, so let me open Linux machine. This is my Linux machine, and this is the folder where I am, tiny. So last class I've explained all these functions to all these programs to you. So today I am in tiny. All these programs are already from the book only. That's why I am not sending it to you. I have slightly changed some of the program that I will explain, but most of the things are from book. So see, in this tiny there is there is a server already there. So actually this tiny is a server here. So tiny server is already compiled here and it is called server here. If we will open the server later, first let me run this server same as last lecture. So we have a server. If I press enter, server is now working. So what we have done, that's if you try to relate it in the previous lecture, then in the server code what we have done, maybe we have passed the 7800, this is the port number. So with this port number it has called the open listenfd function, and then after open listenfd function it has created a listen fd, what you can say, a listen fd file descriptor, and that file descriptor is waiting now for a client request. Where it will wait in a indefinite while loop, like while one, right, if you remember. And then inside this loop there will be a function called accept, where it is waiting for a client request. That's it. Okay, so now in last class, what we did, we have also created a client application, right? We have also, there was a two terminal here, there was one other terminal here, and that from that terminal, what I did, I have opened a client application. And also what I have did, I have shown you that this server was running in my desktop, and I have opened the client from my laptop, right? But there was a specific C program from client. But what we are doing today, we want to design a web-based application, right? So what we will do today, today we will only create the server part. For us, today we only create servers because and what will be our client? Client will be our a browser. For example, if I open this browser here, so this is my client actually. Initially I'll not write anything, maybe I'll write 7 localhost. So this is my client. So you can see something is happening here. So I think maybe I should start from the beginning, otherwise maybe you guys will confuse. So let me clear everything. Server is started, right? From where server I have started? From this folder server is started. Now I have opened this browser here, and I want to use this browser as a client program to connect with that server. And so since there is same machine here, both server and client are working in the same machine, so what you can say, this server is local host. But in last class I have told you, and I have show you a demo, that even if this server is not running in same machine, if it is running in another machine, if you know the domain name or if you know the IP address, you can interact with it, right? So today I'll not do this thing because I have to record two simultaneous video and then I have to merge, so it's a difficult task for me, so I'll not do today this. What I will do today, I'll assume that the server is also running in the same machine. That means in my laptop only, but so we will call this server as localhost. So what I will do today now is TTP localhost 7800. Okay, see accepted connections. So already the moment I'm typing it already sent a request to this, and server is already accepted the connection. So moment I press enter here, what will do, it will send a connection is already established, right? If the connection of has been established means what, it is in this if you remember this part, let me scroll it. Connection established means they are in this part. So here there is client FD, here there is connection FD. Both are ready. So what we need to do now is, if I press enter here, then there will be a line. It will be sent to server, and then the server will read it, and based on this, it will send a request. See, if I sending, it is sending a request. So now we'll use this server to read a HTML page. That HTML page is, I think it's called, let me go to this tiny. See, there is a page in server here called simple HTML page, right? So assume that this folder is in server. It may not be in your local laptop, right? It is in server. So since I am using local as a server, so assume this folder as a server, this tiny folder as a server. So now from client, what I want to access, I want to access this simple HTML which is stored in the server. So what I'll write here, I'll write simple HTML. The moment I'll write this simple HTML, see, it can access simple HTML. This is a simple HTML file, and it is displaying all the content of simple HTML. There is another HTML file here, simple1.html. Let me open this first. Simple one is, will be, I think, see this, I think that it is capital S. Let me see. Sample, it's sample, sorry, sample HTML. enter the main heading usually. So this is what is stored in the sample HTML. And you can see the moment I press, if I press some HTML here again, see something is going here, right? What it is going here? See, it is the server is accepting the request, all this thing accepted request, and all what is there, the content I'll explain later to you. But the if you use this browser as a client and try to access with this server, then it is communicating with the server. What in this moment it is doing, if you want to read this page sample 100 HTML, so what it is doing, first of all it is sending a request to the after establishing the connection, this client is sending a request like this to the server. What server is doing, you can easily understand this server, what server is doing, server will open this file and it will read the content of this file one by one, it will store it in a string and then sending the final result to the client, isn't it? And if you see here, every time, as I said, the result that will come here is the form of it's a form of HTML. You can see this is the HTML file that is returning from server and it is printing here. So I hope this part is clear. And how it is printing, as this is printing as big as a little bit larger font than here, this part is bold, this is italic, how these things are going on. This is the property of HTML, right? If you have a HTML script that is sending from server to client, then it is the responsibility of the browser in the local machine to display the HTML file, right? There is no connection with server now. So for example, if I open this file here, this is the server folder, so I'm opening it in server, for assume that. So in server, if you open this file in server with text editor, so this is the file stored in the server. So you can see this is a complete HTML file. So which lines should be italic, which lines should be bold, which lines should be of larger font, all these things are mentioned in HTML. So when this HTML file will collect by the server and send to the client, so when client receive this, then client has to display, or you can say interpret, the HTML file for you. So that is every server, every sorry, client browser is capable of doing it. So that's why this is how it is printing. Okay, so now what I am doing here, up to this, I am requesting for a static page in server, and server is accessing the static page and sending it to me. Now what I will do, I don't want to access a static page. Suppose what I will do here now, I want to add two numbers. Okay. Suppose I will send this request to the server. So what this request is? This request is there is, and 7800 there is a program called CJBean, and this program is capable of adding two numbers. So I'm sending two numbers A and B. So A is 30, B is 30. If I send it, see, it is calculating it and sending me 60. Instead of 30, if I send here 80, then what it will print? I'm sending two number, one A is 30, B is 80. So server will add a 30 and 80 and send me the final result. So 30 and 80 and final result is 110. So what I am doing here, I am not requesting the server for a static value. So as you can see here, the content that is returning by server is not static. If we send 30 30 here, then it is sending me 60. If I am sending 30 80, then it is sending me 180. So it means that from this client, this is the client's, like from this client, I am sending a request. Suppose I am sending now A is 30 and B is 100. So that request, when it is received by server is calling some program, and it is adding these two number 30 and 100, and then collecting the result, and then it is sending the result. So what this server is doing, first of all, server is adding this 10 and 100, 30 and 100 for me, which is 130, and then it is preparing this content for me, and then this string is sending by server as an HTML format from server to client, and then client is printing it, right? So the content here, in the important thing here, you can understand that in the at this particular moment, it is not static. The content that is supplying by server is dynamic. So the beauty of this small tiny server program that is running here, see, that you have compiled and running now, this you can see that this particular tiny server is capable of doing all these things. It can send dynamics static page also, whatever page is located in this server, any HTML page, it can read it and you can send it, so that it's the same HTML page you can also read in the, also see in the client from the client machine, or it can also send the dynamic part if there is anything here. So that means all these things normally how we can do, we normally, if you have designed any website, or you have some knowledge about web server and all, so what we do, we normally, if we want to create a server, we'll install this well-known server software, right? Apache and all these things. So what I am trying to explain here, that how to design your own server. If you are a system guy, for example, suppose after mtech, if you want to work in the company who in the company who has built the Apache or something, then you should know how a server works, right? So here what I am trying to explain today is, without using any of this server software like Apache and all, how you can design your own server. And this, the tiny.c is one of these example. And another important part is this complete details of this tiny.c program is written in your textbook. I'll not explain all this part because there are a lot of unnecessary things are there. Why I'm saying unnecessary, because these are some formatting values and all this I'll not explain, but important part I'll explain. Okay, so now I'm just showing you the demo how it is working. So now the last demo is what I will show you is let me go for some another HTML. So here what I have done, I have requested for a HTML page, simple HTML, and this is the HTML page. So maybe some of you, if you know that what the HTML has a special syntax called HTML form, and if you have write an HTML form, it looks like this. So if I go to the server, this is my server. So you can see there is a HTML file is here, simple.html. Okay, sorry, I want to open it in notepad file. So I think it is already open here, simple.html. So you can see this is simple.html. I have created a HTML form. You know, I think you know what is called HTML. This is HTML body, and inside this body I have created a HTML form. This you can create in any HTML form. So, and this is when, if you try to open this HTML file, then this HTML file will open like this in browser. So instead of calling it from client, if I open it from server only, so for example, suppose if I double click on it, then it is opening in server only. So it is opening like this. I think I have opened the wrong one. This is the simple HTML. So if I open it from the local machine, so from the server machine, I think, then so maybe you can say, sir, this is client, this is server. How it is possible? As I have said that my both server and client are in same laptop. So this folder, what I have done is, I assume that this is, I am opening this HTML from server. So it means that if I write something like this in a file, this is an HTML format, form level, all these thing, and if I try to open this file from HTML, then it will open like this. This is the form. So there are two things here. First number you can write here, second number you can write here. There is a submit button. The moment you press submit button, you can write a action for this HTML. Then what it should do. And if you go to this HTML file, what I have written action, that it has to submit the request here in CGI bean header. CGI bean header. It will call this. It will go for this function. It will go for this URL. Okay, and with this URL, any form has there are some way to submit the data. So the one way is get data, get post, different things are there. So by default it will send all the values here as a get method. So if I moment I press submit here, what will happen? See, you can check this result, not here, go here in client. So from client, what I have done first, I have sent a request called simple.html to the server, and server has returned me this what you can say, this form. Now I have entered here 30, I have entered here suppose 780, and now I press submit. The moment I press submit, it will again submit it. It will again, the request will again send to the server. And where it will send, it is written here. It will send after localhost, it will send to this folder CJ bean, and it will call a program called header. And with this part is written here. This part is written here, and with these two values, value of A and B will also send. How it will send? Just simply click here. If you click here, what you can see here, consider this CGI header is coming from here. CJ coming is coming from here, and then these two values, sorry, A and B, A is here, B is here, these two values are sending in this format, question mark and then A equal to 30 and B equal to 80. In this format, we are sending this value. How it is sending in these values, that is depend on the HTML form. Okay, that is depend on HTML form. So you can see it is showing the result. So let me run it again. I'll call for simple one dot is not, sorry, simple one, it's simple one, simple.html. The every time when I call simple.html, see it is accepting the request, server is working. And then if I send 300 and 400, if I write here and if I submit, again it will request to the server, but it will request for a different program, and program is written here, CGI bin folder adder program. And that adder program, it will also supply these two values, and the moment I press submit in this form, it will send these values in get form. Get form means all the values will be supplied through this URL. And you can see CGI bin header, then all these parameters are separated from this it is called URI, I think, and the question mark, and after this each parameter is separated by a this symbol, and symbol, and this is the first parameter. A is 300 and B is 400. So I am supplying this value to server. Server is accepting this value. From here it is finding out two values, 300 and 400, is adding it. It is preparing this statement for me and sending the result to client. Okay, so now you can see that the server, it's what you can say, the small server program that we have written, it's working properly, right? It can send both static values as well as both dynamic values. So now what I'll do, I'll open this program and show you the internal thing, how this small program is doing all this thing. Before that, we have to understand some basic concept of HTTP connection, and that is also written in this book. So if we follow this book from this 11 point, I think 11.1, 11.5 web server, read quickly, read all these things. I think this part you'll easily understand. First of all, it has explained what is HTML. Okay, not at all a part of this code. This is very basic. You should know what is HTML. I should not explain it what is called HTML. Then what is web content? Web content means what this if you request from the client to server, server will read something and server is sending data to you. That is a web content, right? So what should be the web content? So the web clients and server content is a sequence of bytes with an associated MIME type. So it's a MIME type, right? Normally what we are sending here is this type of thing, HTML page. It's called text slash HTML. Sometimes if you just send plain text thing from server to plain text from server between server and client, then it is called text slash plain. If you are sending some JavaScript thing, then it will be PostScript. Or if you are sending some images, then maybe it will you have to send this type of MIME. So there are different types of web content possible, and types are showing here. And there are two types how client server will communicate with client. One is called static content, and another is called dynamic content. Both I have already explained now. Okay, so for example, if we go for this type of design, google.com/it.index.html, so what it will do, first of all, it will connect with this server, and we can assume that inside this server there is a HTML file called index.html. So what server will do, server will read the content of the HTML file, and it will send to the client, and in from the client browser we can just see this file, right? But if there is something like this, for example, if we want to go for a dynamic thing like this server, we are requesting the server to perform some task for us, adding two number for us, and then send the result. In that case, server will do some action dynamically, but result, for sending result, it will always create a HTML page and it will send us the result. All these things are explained here. I have already explained this thing to you. And then HTTP transactions, since we are requesting with HTTP, there are two important part with HTTP. You have to understand what is called request header and one is called response header. this book is not appropriate for understanding HTTP request and HTTP response. So what I will advise you that you just search it in internet what is called HTTP request header, what is called HTTP response. So HTTP request means whenever from client side, for example, from this browser, if I write localhost and something, and then I press enter, then this client is sending a HTTP request to the server. So this request has some header. So you can see sending a request through this. So this telnet function, telnet is a command through which you can send a request to a server. So means the easy way to understand telnet is instead of using a browser and pressing this and typing this and address in browser, you can also use telnet in from your Linux terminal. So what it will do, it will communicate with the client or with the what you can say uh, with the server, and after connecting with server, it will print it here. So what I can do, maybe I'll try it here, right? Why not? Let me try it here. Open a new terminal here. Okay, new terminal open. Let me write telnet and then uh, localhost 7800. Let me see. I think HTTP. Sorry, HTTP. Telnet could not resolve HTTP localhost 7800. Sorry, I think. So what you can see here from the terminal, if you type this this server address from this terminal, we can say this terminal is a client. So first of all, it is sending a request to the server. So that is called HTTP request. So that HTTP request is here. So this is the request line we are sending as a GET. So GET, and then URI will be here. Then this is the HTTP thing. This is the HTTP version, and then there is another line called HTTP header. So all these things you have to understand by yourself what is called HTTP request, and when the request will be received by the server will process it, and when server will send the result, then when the server is sending a HTTP result, then the server has to create a HTTP response header first of all, and then the actual content will be here. See, the actual HTML content is here, but with this content server has to send this HTTP what you can say header response header. So it means that when what we are doing here, if we again go back to my server, sorry, what I was doing here, this was working as a client, so there was no problem with this client. So from client side, when I'm sending a request, so this HTTP request that is creating by the browser, and it is sending to the server, that is fine. But the server is not designed by anyone else. Server is designed by ourselves only, right? It's a small program. So when server will receive the request and server want to send the result back to this client, at that moment we have to understand that if it is a communication video through HTTP, then first of all server will send the entire thing as a as a string, right? So what it will do, server first of all in this string, first of all server will add this. After adding this, then with this server will add the actual result, and this total string that is here, that string will be returned to the client, and client will see this. So you have to understand this point, because when I will explain this program, you'll see that when server is sending a response, first of all server is creating this part, and then server is attaching the actual content, and then it is sending to the client. Okay, so with this all this thing, I think let me go to the code. If we see, you can also uh, read the code from here, this book, because the entire code is written here: serving dynamic content, serving static content. So all these things can be done by this small program. This is called tiny.c. So the in the tiny.c, the first part is the main.c. You can see this is the main.c. In main.c, what is happening, it is creating a server. And for this, what we are doing, if you see here, what we are doing, we are sending server, and with this we are sending a port number, right? So based on this, see, this is the port number is coming here. With this port number, it is creating a server. How it is creating a server? It is calling open listen fd. You know what is called open listen fd, right, from the last lecture. So after this, there is a socket created listen fd who can listen the client connection. So now after while one, here at line number 32, it is waiting for a client connection, right? So it is waiting here. So from after this, whenever we'll go to the browser from a client machine and try type the address of this server, that request will be accepted here, right? And after accepting it here, it will create a connection fd here, and it will also send a acknowledgement to the client. And now there is a connection established, and they can communicate. So how they can communicate between client FD there in client and connection FD in server. So what the remaining thing what they do, they have created a different function here called do it function. Instead of this, you can also write something here. You can write something from here in this server. It will be available in client. So what they do after establishing the connection, they have created a new function called do it. So now do it function is here. So there are a lot of things here in do it function. If you read, you will understand it. I will not explain all these things. So first of all, in do it function, when will come here in do it, will only come in do it function. The control will only come here after establishing a connection between client and server. So it means the connection is already established. Now the purpose of server is to serve the request of this client. So here it will check all these thing, that how request has to handle. So read request headers will be there. So basically from here, the two important part is this serve static and serve dynamic. So if it is a static thing, then it will serve from here. If it is dynamic, then it will serve from here. So the next question you may ask, that how the server will understand this the content is static or dynamic. So basically there is no way. So it's depend on how each server. So for example, if it's a PHP file, then you know that if you know the syntax of PHP file, then you can you if you know that this PHP file is actually embedded with an HTML file there. So anything if you write inside a what you can say the block of PHP, that is a dynamic content, right? Other parts are static content. So it means that these it's depend on server that how it can interpret that whether this request is a static request or a client, or you can say it's a dynamic request. So what I will do here in this program, we assume that if it is requesting for some HTML page, then it's a static thing. And if it is requesting for something inside written inside a CGI bin folder, then we'll consider that it's a dynamic thing. Okay. So if it is static thing, then what we are passing here, we are passing the fd. This fd is actually connection fd that is supplied from main function to here. That is actually connection fd, or you can go here, you can say this connection fd is this fd. So here if it is read static, then we are sending this fd, and this is file name. This file name is coming from the client. Okay, how it is coming from the client, that if you write here localhost 700 and slash, and if you write here simple.html, then that simple.html will be available here in file name. How it is available? It is available through a function here. See, there is a function written here, and with this function parse URI. So this parse URI I am not explaining what is called URI. URI means if I write here localhost, right, better if I show you this localhost 780, uh, this part is URI. This part is URI. Okay, or if I go for this sample HTML, so this part is URI. This part is URI. So from this URI part, it is easy to parse all these things. If I go for previous one, if I go for this, then this is complete thing is URI. So first of all, it will go for CGI bean adder. This is sorry, this is URI, and then also from this we can also parse these two values. So all these things are easy, and it is showing here. So in this way, you will understand. You can find the file name, which file need to be searched, and this is the size. So what this serve static will do? Serve static will just read the content of this file, and then what it will do? There is a small trick here. If you go to this all this thing I'll not explain. Parts URI I'll not explain. This very easy. You have to understand SARP static. If you go to SARP static, what it is doing, first of all, it is creating the HTTP header, response header, as I have said. So it is taking a buffer and is using sprintf. So I hope you know what is called sprintf. It is printing in a particular string. So in this buffer string, it is first of all it is creating the complete HTTP response header. After creating the response header, what I will do, we will go to the file, what is called file name, and we'll open the file name, read the content of the file name, and again it will append with this buff. So they are doing it here in their own style. I'll not explain it here because you can also read the file line by line and append it here. But what they did, they use mf function. This is also easy. You can read this function, what is called mf, and how they are doing it. And ultimately what they are doing, they are storing what they are doing, they are collecting all this information, and then they are sending it to FD. How they are sending it to FD, you can see here. Ultimately they are sending everything to this FD. What is this FD? This is the actual connection descriptor, right? Connection descriptor. So the complete content of this file, including this HTTP response thing, they are sending to the client from here. They are writing it the connected FD. So the moment you write it in connected FD from server, that value will be available in the client, and client will read it. So client will read the entire content, and client will display the actual HTML page in the client. So I think this part is easy for you, right? So now if we go to the dynamic part, then dynamic part, what we can say, if there is a in your URI, if CGI is written, then we'll go for dynamic. So to understand dynamic, see dynamic here. So again it will go for dynamic. Then in file name it will be written CGI header here, and then the arguments. What are the arguments? The argument parts will be here. This will be your file name, and a equal to 300 and b equal to 400 is the argument part. All these things are doing by parts URL function. So now if I'm here, then file name will be the CGI header, and this is actually this part a equal to 300 and b equal to 400. Okay, so with all this thing, what I am doing here, I am calling again I'm requesting here. So CGI bin. So it means when this request is coming here, I have to go to CGI bean, and inside the CGI bean there is a function called, there is a program called adder, and I have to run this program adder, and this adder function program is capable of adding two values, and it can send the result. Okay, so and that result is showing here. So if I run this program again, sorry, if I run this program again with instead of 400, if I run it with 800, see it is showing you the results. And this, you can see the server is accepting the connection, it is doing all the parsing, it is generating this HTML file, and it is sending. I think this part is also clear. Now the only question left is how server is performing this addition. It means what is inside this adder, because I have never explained it. I just say adder is a function, right? But adder is a program that can execute, that it can do two addition of two things. But how this adder is written? So now I am going to this folder, inside this folder CGI bin, and opening this adder.c, which is already open here. You can see this. I'm minimizing this terminal now. See this function adder, the program. Sorry, this is an independent program adder. So just assume that this function, this adder is adding two numbers. One is n1, another is n2. So nothing fancy here. I'm scrolling it, but you can ignore this part right now. All these things, just assume that this is a program, independent C program, which can add two numbers n1 and n2. So what it will do, it will only add these two, right? N1 plus n2. And since you can go to this this client, we are expecting result in this format, right? So these strings are generating here. You can see first of all we are creating a string is called content. It's a big string, okay, or you can say buffer. So first of all, in this string we are written welcome to this, and then in this string we are adding this thing and this content. And since it will be HTML content, so we are writing in HTML format. And then here we are writing the answer is %d content n1. So ultimately what I am doing, I am adding it here n1 plus n2, and also I am creating a string called content, which is with all this content, or in all this content only this part is dynamic, right? And this dynamic part is creating here using sprintf. Every time you request for header, this content string will be generated here in this server. This is a html thing, and then this html thing will be sent to the client, and client is displaying it. But this generating this html thing is dynamic, right? Every time you call header function, it will create a new html thing. Now the next question is, what is n1 and n2? So you will say that, sir, from here I am passing these values. So how these values are getting by this n1 and n2? Because ultimately, if the program is adding is responsible for adding these two, then this value I am supplying from the client should be available here. It means n1 should store the first value, and n2 should store the second value. So how it is happening? For this, what we are doing here, we can use a environment variable here. So you can read more about environment variable in from this book, it is written here, or you can also search it from internet. So before calling this function, or sorry, before this program, if you can set an environment variable, it is called query string, with any value, that value will be available here after running, when you run this program. Again, I'm saying it, before running any program in Linux, if you set an environment variable like this query string, and if set a particular string in this environment variable, then when you run this program, then that environment variable will be available for you. So one of this environment variable is called query string. So before running this program, what we will do, the server program will, what server program will do, server program will set this a equal to 300 and b equal to 800, this particular thing, as a environment variable. Okay, and that environment variable will be, when we will run this program, that environment variable will be available here. So it means that here the content of buffer will be this, a equal to 300 and b equal to 300. So from this value, from this string, how n1 and n2 are calculated is very easy, and I'll not go in detail, but this code is not exactly the same code written in the book. So you can take a screenshot of it, or maybe you can post the value video here, and you can try to understand how I have modified this value. And at the end of, we are starting from this, so means here in this line number 12, the value of buff will be this string, and here at line number 26 and 27, from all these things I'm extracting 300 and 800 here. Okay, so once this value is extracted, then you can see where we're creating a string dynamically, and then we are printing it here, right? S printf, and the complete see the complete statement is printing here. Now there is one more doubt, maybe you will ask me that, sir, the another important thing here is line number 41, that okay, it is fine that these two values that you are sending by a and b, that is coming through environment variable, and you are parsing it and storing it in n1 and n2, as we have done here, that is fine. Then based on this n1 and n2, we have created a dynamic html string, and that string that need to be sent to the client. But where you are sending it to client? Here you are not sending it to client, sir, you are just printing it in here. So if I run this code, this will print in the standard output of server, right? Because this program header.c is stored in a cgi folder of server, and I am just trying to print it, printf. So if I try to print it here, then it will print in the standard output of server. So how, instead of printing it in standard output of server, it is going to the client? That question will come in your mind. I think if you remember the dup2 function from this previous chapter, then you will understand the content. Why? Let me go to this file. So this is the main function. So if you concentrate on the main function, what we are doing, the connection as it established, after establishing a connection, we are getting a connection FD. And if you remember what I said, the communication between client and server will be only going through this the connection FD from server side. So if server want to write something, server has to write it in connection FD. If we write it in anywhere else, it will not go to the client. But now if we see the code here, the code is printing in the standard output of the server. So how it will send the request? So instead of this, if we somehow use this dup2 function such that instead of doing printing it in a file descriptor std out, if we can forward it to this descriptor connection fd, then what will happen? Maybe you are writing it in writing printf to print it in the standard output, but it will not print in the standard output. It will write it in this. It will not write in the standard output. It will write in this descriptor, and writing it in this descriptor means it will go to the client side. So this is just a smart technique, and it is an interesting one, right? And that's how the concept you have studied from the previous chapter will be used here. So they will just use this simple function called dup2, and they'll forward the result of this small simple adder.c function, adder.c program to the client. Okay, so I'll not open adder.c anymore. You can read it from the book also. The complete codes are available, but these code have slightly modified it because what this book assumed that the results will be in this format, 300 and 800, because they have not used this. What they have not used, they have not considered this type of html page to send request. This type of html page, what their example is that you will open a browser like this as a client, and you will type this type of result, is this type of URI directly, means 30 330 directly, and you'll press enter. They are expecting this type of thing, but we are what I have done, I have to make it more appropriate. What I have done here, I am opening a HTML file like this, and I'm clicking submit here. If you submit from a HTML form like this, then it will go this type of and you'll generate this type of address. So here my string is this. So this parsing part is a little bit different. So I have add some more thing to can parse, but it is you have to understand it. Okay, that's it. Adder.c is done. So I hope you understand that how dynamically the content can be served by your server. Now go back to your server and go to do it function again. From do it function, if it is dynamic, then it will call serve dynamic function. And now we'll go and see the serve dynamic function. It is serve static, I think, and this is serve static, and after this there will be serve dynamic. I think this is subdynamic. Yes, this is subdynamic. So what they are doing? Yeah, one more thing that I have not explained, and that also the concept of your old knowledge. And the concept is, sir, you may ask that tiny.c is a independent program, right? If I open tiny.c here, it's an independent program. Open a text editor. Yeah, it's an independent program. It has its own main function. It is establishing the connection and all. The same thing written in book also, right? I have shown you. Then here there is a do it function. All these things that I am showing from here, the same thing, and this is, and this file is the same thing. So all these programs I'm showing. So from this tiny.c is a separate program. So from that program, how you can call another program? So for this, you can see here from serve dynamic, what it is doing, it is creating a child process. And in child process there, first of all, in child process, they are establishing the environment variable, right? Because what is environment variable I've just used, because through this you can pass something to the adder.c. And then they are using dup2 function to forward this std out. Okay, and they are using this function execve. What is the purpose of this function? I have already explained in this course, right? So by doing this, they are loading another file that is called adder file, right? The adder function that we have written, that can be called from this. So if I go to this code here, tiny.c, and I'll go to serve dynamic file type. If I go to serve dynamic, you can see they're loading a file here. They're executing another program from here, and it is called file name. So that will be written as cgi slash adder. So that file where they are executing from there using this function, and you are already familiar with this function. So through this function, they are executing adder.c, and before calling adder executing adder.c, they are doing these two things. First of all, they are setting the environment variable, and they are doing calling dup2, right? So when you will call this function here, add means execute this adder.c, then query string is already set with the previous thing. with this. So from here N1 and L2 will get the proper values, then the content will be ready. Parts and this content will be dynamically created, and when at line number 41, when it will try to print it in standard output, instead of printing it is standard input output, where it will go, it will go to the connection FT, right, of the server. So it means that it will go to the client, and then the child process will stop here, and after when this adder will done, adder will finish, adder will go execute exit 0. Exit 0 means this child process is completed, and then again this parent process is waiting here, wait now, so it will return from here. So I hope this the program that is written Sharp Dynamic is also clear to you. So see there are, this is just a program, and I have shown you the demo, I have explained you the basic programs, basic important functions. Now it is your responsibility to read this book and try to understand this complete thing. And just reading this book is also not enough, you have to run it as I have run it here, and try to do all this practical thing that I have done. And all this program that I am showing is available in internet. Only thing that is not, maybe that I have modified here is this part that I am showing you multiple times in adder part only. This processing of this part is different. This is I have added something so that and simple.html, this HTML file is not there. This HTML file is not there because it's a different type of HTML file. I am using a form here. So this simple.html, this is a small, you can also pause the screen here and you can see what is written in this simple.html. You can create this. So if we go to this server again, see in this tiny folder in this server, simple.html is written here in this server. So every time if I go for localhost 700 this folder, and if I press it, this means this folder, this is the folder. So in this folders there is a file called simple.html. So in this client, if I write here slash simple.html, then it will go to the client. It is finding the reading the HTML file as the read static part, and it will send it here. So how it will do, it will be done through this function. This is called dynamic, and the previous function was Sharp static, right? So it is doing by Sharp static function. Sharp static function, it is sending the result back. Okay, and I can see the results here. I can see the results here now. This result is again a static, it's a HTML thing, but it's a form. It's a form, right? So in this form I can write my own values here, suppose 10, and here I can write 200. Okay, and I want to add these two values, so I'll press submit here. The moment I press submit here, then another new request will go to client, right? Connection is already established, but the new request will go to client, and that new request is of this type, CGIB in adder. So now this is the URI part. So based on this URI part, the server will understand that okay, it's a dynamic thing. So instead, so it will go for Sharp Dynamic, and in Sharp Dynamic this will go as a file name, and this will go as a string. So if you go to Sharp Dynamic, you can see how Sharp Dynamic is establishing the environment very well, how it is forwarding the standard input output, and then how it is calling this adder program, and that adder program is executing all the collecting this result and forwarding it to the client. So I think the complete example of tiny server is explained. I have already explained, and the program is written here, this tiny.c, sorry, here it is written here, tiny.c. You can check it, and how you can compile it. Maybe I have not shown you how you can compile it. You can compile it like gcc tiny.c, and then you have to use csf.c, because as it is using libraries from this. And then I think minus p thread, why I am using minus p thread, that I have explained in last lecture. So it is created error out. Why error out? Because if we want to go for server, then we have to write minus o server, then a server is created like this. Okay, so you can create a server like this, and you can try to execute it. And if you want to execute the program inside CGI bin, then you have to execute them separately. That I have also shown you in this lecture, right? So I hope you will understand, you have understood all the concept that I have explained here. But I know that everything will not be clear from my lecture, because this is the complete coding based thing. So you have to read this book based on what I have explained. Then only all these things will be cleared. And then now you can see that this chapter is done. This is just a summary. So next class will start multi-threading. That is, which is chapter number 12. So I'm stopping this video here. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.